Hello. I feel like I've made so many videos about these stars being moved, but they're being moved again, my stars. I have about 600 stars to, no, 300, a little over 300 stars to pack and 600 more to make. My projects have been on hold for a long while, and since my mom died, I thought life would pick up. Life did pick up, but my art kind of was at a halt, and I'm understanding that I was in a lot of grief, and so, it was a time for me to turn inward. So I'm back to getting back to making this colossal project, right? It's colossal, it's huge. And I think it's apropos that it's taking me years, right? I just thought about the project. First time I thought about it was in 2016. I started getting to work on it in 2022. Now it's 2026. So it's pretty amazing. I've just realized at this point I can't make any promises as to how quickly things are going to get done, but it's not about quick. In fact, at this point, it's just one foot in front of the other with everything that I do. I mean, I've created a few paintings in the last year, but I have so many that everything is just in limbo. And it's okay. It's not like I don't have creative ideas. It's just that I haven't had the capability or just the inclination to execute them. There's just been a lot of percolating and digesting reality, and also seeing reality in a slightly different way than I did in the past. So, the reason why I'm packing these up is that my home/art studio is about to be going under renovation, and I need to pack up everything I own and move it out of the space. And then while the deconstruction and reconstruction is happening, I will be in different places. So here I go. I have 3 boxes that I can pack some things in, and then, I will keep doing this over the next week or two. I have to get more boxes. I had some boxes, and when I pulled them out, I realized they kind of were a little bit moldy, and I definitely don't want to put this in moldy, put these pieces into a moldy situation. So I have a few boxes. So the wild thing about all of this is, I've been looking at the astrology because we're coming to the end of the Pisces Virgo eclipses. And that means, we're kind of letting in a new era of, also got proper paper to wrap these things in. We're looking at a new era where we're moving into the Leo Aquarius axis. And for me, my North Node is in Aquarius, so it's like a pivot. It becomes a pivotal time for people with that axis, with their nodes. But my mom, it's pretty wild. She died on the Virgo eclipse on October 2nd, 2024. It was which makes sense. She was a Virgo as well. And the next eclipse that happened on that axis was September 7th, 2025. And September 7th was my mom's birthday. And then we had the last eclipse on March 3rd, and now we're really moving into new eclipses. And I've been feeling kind of like I wasn't sure what I wanted my life to be anymore for a while. And I realized a lot of it kind of was the upheaval from, and there's a ton of upheaval going on right now, but since 2020, since the pandemic, life has changed for a lot of us. And for me, it was hard for me to look and see like what had changed. Like all my gigs were canceled, all my music gigs, my yoga gigs. I had an art show that no one saw because the art was hanging, but the building was closed. And so it just kind of blew things apart. And something happened after that, and I used to look back at that and be like, oh man, oh darn, right? And now I look back and I'm like, oh wow, I had all this stuff happening and it was so exciting, and I'm excited about it again. I'm excited to get back to those things, and I'm also excited to, obviously be doing new things. And so there's a shift in my way of feeling in the world. And I think it has to do with, kind of moving through the grief of the old world, and understanding that we're at some major new beginnings. We had Saturn and Neptune conjunct on February 20th in Aries, at 0 degrees Aries, which is a world point, which is just, it's like a global reset. And I'm looking at this as a time to really decide, okay, what do I want the world to be? What do I want my own world to be? And how can that contribute to the greater good, right? The greater good of the world, because there's so much happening that I don't even need to, I could talk about, but it's like you can get the news from everywhere. So anyway, the making art is a form of joy and a form of rebellion for me, and it always has been. I think as soon as when I was in school, growing up, being told I could be anything I wanted to be, as soon as I was told you could be anything, but not an artist. Don't be an artist. That's, of course, oh, okay. Well, that's exactly what I need to be, because I don't really trust adults all that much. Where I grew up, and also it was like, why not? Why not be an artist? And it took a a lot of years of walking down the path of an artist, of a musician, and turning my back on that path and realizing that path was the path that gave me the most life, and then coming back to it. So whatever brings you joy is the thing that should be your focus, or is my focus, is what's becoming my focus again. And I think that is the thing. The trip of like having to step back from everything was, I think with the grief, I wasn't really sure what was bringing me joy anymore. But these stars bring me joy. I mean, stars are, 5-pointed stars always remind me of people. If we stand with our arms outstretched, and our legs outstretched and our head, that it forms a star. And there are meditations that go with that shape. There is they call it the Venus Star Point Mudra, because the Venus, as it moves through the sky, also moves in the shape of a 5-pointed star. And that's really cool. And I think when I first conceived of this idea of all these stars, I didn't even know that about Venus. It wasn't until I knew it when I started painting them, but when I came up with the concept, I didn't know that, of making all these stars. The concepts part, there's so many concepts, but one of the major concepts for me is that, we're all made of star stuff. We're all connected. We're all connected to the universe throughout space and time, really. Yeah. I'm packing these boxes, and I have to make sure they're not, too heavy. And for the last, 18 months or so, these stars here have been sitting on top of my dresser. And I'm wiping them down now, because at one point I had a wood burning stove, and it output a lot of dust, a lot of soot, and I just want to make sure they're clean before I pack them up. That one seems like America. The red, white, and blue ones. I didn't do the, there are specific color combinations, but they're a surprise. I'm playing with color. Part of the concept of these stars does have to do with color, and but I don't know how they're going to turn out until they're actually painted. There are certain rules to how I lay the paint down, and then with the specific color, and then the colors that go on top of it. Um, and then however the star turns out, it turns out. And it's not, it's like, it's fun. I'm sitting here, it's been so long, I almost forget how I did it. I'll remember my rules. Luckily, I videoed myself painting these things. So I do remember I've also written it down. I just haven't looked at the equation in a while. The overall equation is there, but the details, the little details in the equation are what I'm talking about. The details of the process. Doop. One of the things that I have been experiencing is the reality of how much time things take with this concept. I initially thought, oh, I'm going to be painting these things on the weekend, and it'll take me about 3 weekends. But there's the finding of the wood, the cutting of the wood, the sanding of the wood, and the priming of the wood. And there's also the physical limitations of doing that as well. How much can physically be done by a human, and that's pretty cool too. So it's a combination of will and surrender. And if we looked at this in an astrological way, this project has become very Saturnian in its execution. And in that, I mean that Saturn is time. Saturn is Chronos. And things take time. Moving through there's paradox. It's like helping someone move through death. It takes time, and it's also very much living. Like I'd say these last few years, and with this project too, the project has began because of time limitations. My time, but ultimately I'm able to see the process of time through this project. which has actually been it's been helpful for me in so much of the it's a huge metaphor for life. See if that'll fit. That's going to be too big. I think that might be it for this particular box. I got a couple more boxes. And it's the same thing here. It's like I have a certain amount of small boxes that I can work with at the moment, and it's okay. I can still begin. I think that's part of it. It's like so often we wait for the perfect time to start something, and I think one of the biggest lessons here is that if you wait for the perfect time, often that's it. It's never going to be the perfect time. The perfect time to start is now. The perfect time to start is when you get the inspiration to take the action, because the action is the thing that shows you what the next action is. Right? It's like I can think and think and think and think and think all day long. And the next thing I know, I've sat around thinking all day, and it's nighttime, and it's time to go to bed, and I haven't done anything. And there's also time for thinking. Like, thinking is not the worst thing in the world, but at some point you have to take action. Otherwise you haven't done anything. And it's like this project, it's like, okay, I'm using these pieces of wood that I have found, right? Upcycled wood. And I could have decided I wanted to do this on, I don't know, something else, but I used what I could find, right? So often it's like, oh, I can't do that project because I don't have all the right supplies. Yeah, I had to buy a few things in order to get it going, but I didn't have to go out and buy, thousands of dollars worth of canvas to get this going. I didn't have to buy new brushes. I didn't have to, it's like I had all the stuff, most of the stuff. It's just like going out and starting, and then adjusting as you go. It's like, that really is how to do it. Of course, as I'm wrapping these, I'm thinking, sometimes, oftentimes, most of the time, making art is not it's not glamorous. there's a willingness to get dirty, to make mistakes, to experiment, to adjust and adjust and adjust and adjust. It's like you give yourself this problem to, it's like you're giving yourself this issue, this not a problem, a puzzle, could be a problem to solve. And there's this constant solving that happens. And as for me, it's like as I create, more ideas come to me. It's just this, the more I create, the more I create. It's kind of how that goes. Right now I feel pretty calm, but I can say, I admit that while I was in this time of sort of thinking about what next. See if this will fit. Do I even want, do I even want to keep making art? Did go through my mind. And I had to sit with that question for a while. And it was kind of a scary question to ask, especially after my whole life. Going, I want to be an artist. And I'm back to it, like looking back to what I was up to in 2020 and then the world sort of changing. That feeling joy at what I was going, oh wow, joy at what it was that I was doing before everything all like changed, gave me a hint that I do want to keep making art. I do want to continue on this path. So doubt became a gift, right? As cheesy as that sounds. Gift of doubt. I feel like this project in particular will also be a project in persistence. I want to finish this massive project. And I've had massive projects. I've done massive projects in my life as a musician. And I've been on recordings. I've helped people, finish their albums. And also have had my own bands. I've had 2 bands where we recorded the tracks for the album, but then never put the album out. And that's something I looked at over this last 18 months or so too, and been like, that's something that I feel is it's too bad, right? And so it's important for me to finish what I've begun, especially something I put so much time and love into. And when you listen, at least when I listen back to the rough tracks of some of these recordings, I'm like, wow, this is pretty amazing. Too bad it never got released, you know? So this is something I can do on my own. I've been doing this on my own, and part of sharing it. And I also have been in the last, I guess it's still around 18 months, been receiving help as well. I'm not doing this completely alone anymore, which is really, really nice. I'm realizing as an artist, as a person, having people in your life who are supportive, is so important, is essential. And I think that may have been something I've been adjusting to as well. It's like who you know, back in who's in my life, like in New York in the 90s, surrounded by a lot of creative people. Participating in a lot of creative activity, and it's just easier. It's easier when there's momentum of other creative people around. One more, maybe. It's also, you gain momentum as you finish. All right. As projects get finished, it builds on the next project. Like you go, I'm able to finish things and go on to the next thing. Especially for someone who likes to do a lot of things, and that is one. That's definitely my. It's. I wouldn't say it's a problem, but it can feel like a problem sometimes when your main focus is like 3 or 4 different things. I have to change things up because I have so many interests that if I don't kind of toggle my interests, I I get bored. When I looked back at all the different things that were launching in 2020, I got excited because I was like, oh yeah, I've done this. Like if I hadn't archived my work, if I didn't have record of what I was doing and what I'd done, I would not remember that I did those things. Like, I can convince myself that in a sense, the only time is now, right? But there's also record of history that can be inspiring. It's not like when I say that, it's not like, oh, I'm going back. It's like, oh yeah, I'm capable of juggling 5 or 6 different things and them all kind of working. And truth be told, these last few years, I had been juggling 5, 6, 7, 8 different things, and they're all working. They're just not, it's just not art, just not yoga, just not music. That's all, It's like, yeah, things are happening, but, sometimes you've got life to take care of. And then, those things can inform the creative work. Let life inform the work. I mean, this project is informed by my interest in both the cosmos, my interest in not just both, so more than 2 things, my interest in sustainability and upcycling and making beauty out of things that already exist, and fun, just fun. And also the human energy system. When I first started this project, I called it the Star Chakra Project. I've been studying the chakras, going by the Hindu system, since 1989. I created a workshop called Writing the Energetic Body, which was creating through the energy systems in the body. That's sort of how this came about, through that writing workshop, actually. So you never know. And the stars look like bodies, like I said. It's kind of like this human, ta-da! But I feel like every single one of these pieces is ta-da! Ding, ding, ding. And guess what? You can do it too. Okay. Yeah. And the color combinations are, this surprise, surprise. Who knew that orange, red, brown, and turquoise would look so good together? Also makes me think of Wonder Woman. Stars. Stars. Let's do this one. Ta-da! Oh, let's see. Ooh, this is a cool one. Ding. Barely looks like I made a dent in this. I'm almost done wrapping these things for the day. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna go do this one. This is one of. This is like. This is one of my favorite ones. I can't wait till I do more of this project because the colors are just going to get more and more brilliant and fun. Right now I'm halfway, like I'm smack in the middle of yellow. So I have, after that it's green. That's going to be really cool. When I lived in the Southwest, I didn't use green a lot. And I think it's just because green is not like, it's not a major color there, or at least green in the sense that it is here in the Hudson Valley. I mean, like, green is becoming much more prominent in my paintings. Because there are so many shades of it, and out there green tended to be kind of brown green or gray green, pine forest green. But here it's like every day, especially like now it's almost spring. There's moss green, and there's like a million different kinds of green with moss. Like there's just like there's yellow green, there's red green, there's like and that's just moss. You got the trees. I mean, everything's gonna start bursting soon, and the buds have these like little red tips, and then they open, and they're sort of this faintest green color with, it's like yellow with all this green running through it. And then, you know, as they unfurl, they become more and more green, and it's just like green everywhere. When I moved out west, I was like, oh my God, everything's brown. What have I done? And then I started to notice, oh, actually this brown is red. And the red against the sky has its particular beauty, right? The sky, again, like the sky and earth, are just that combo is just like, I mean, people travel from all over the world to come check it out, to come see it. Well, I'm almost done with today's wrapping and rapping while rapping. Oh my God, so bad. Sheesh. Ding. Yeah. Almost there. Got a few more small ones to do, and then that is it for the day. So, you know, sometimes I like to do these rambles. I've had people, you know, send me messages and say, you know, thank you for sharing the different things that you go through, because my girlfriend's an artist, and sometimes you're just not actually making the art. You're doing all these other things that are necessary, but may not be actual paint to paper or canvas or cardboard or wood, or whatever your medium is, may not actually be right now. It's me wrapping these things up for I don't know how many times I've done this, but now that they're coming to, many of them are coming to being closer to finished, like I need to wrap them more carefully, because some of them I have, you know, there's some repainting I have to do on a few of them. They need to be stored carefully so that when it's time to show them, they're in shape to show. Like these are painted, and then the next step is they will be varnished, and then after that I may put a coat of wax on them. We'll see. That was my original idea. And the back side I'm gonna do something with as well. And then it's like making this decision, do I put little hangers on them in the back? This is it. This is the last piece of the day. And so the work gets wrapped up. I get to see it again, get re-inspired. And I get a little bit closer to having my studio ready to renovate. So this is, what day is it? It's Sunday, March 8th. And Venus is conjunct Neptune and Saturn. It's on Saturn today in Aries. So action, beauty, value, love. Saturn, Venus says what she wants, and Saturn says, okay, this is what you need to do to get to work. So I feel like doing this today, getting started on caring and valuing for the work that I've done in a way where like I'm wrapping it properly with a proper paper, and talking about time seems to be right on. All right, I'll see you again soon. This is a message from out there and creating a life, I guess. Creating art, creating reality, while reality is doing its own thing as well. Peace.